many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. It is time to get it on. It is the monologue and Q&A segment of today on Patreon. Folks, if you're a Patreon member, guess what? Guess what? If you're a Patreon member, $2 a month, 7 cents a day, you get to join us live every day. Ask questions every day, Monday through Friday. It's a hell of a deal in my opinion. Plus, you get a lot of news links that I can't say a single word about. Sometimes I'll say a couple of words, kind of dance between the raindrops and not get in trouble. Other times, folks, I can't say a single frickin' word. We've got videos, news stories, opinions, and other things on the Prepared Mind only at Patreon. Well, let's do this if we shall. Let's get into what I can talk about. And for you watching live right now, yeah, you're allowed to join in. Get your questions together, get them to Jolene, and we'll get to it. And also on Patreon, you get all of these videos right now, fast. You're not waiting around. You're not getting stale news. You're getting it now. Well, let's do this, folks. Guess what? That's right, folks. It's about little white lies, folks, that are leading into big SHTF. Michigan Governor Whitmore, I like to call dumb Führer, right? She's Governor Whitmore, and she is a freaking Nazi in my opinion. Anyways, you know what she's done? She's decided that masks are bad. That's right. And so she is looking to ban masks. That's right. The same governor who said, oh, you want to protest my lockdowns? You want to protest all of my tyrannical rules? Then I'm going to lock you down even longer. Right? She has been an awful, awful, awful human being. And when I really sit down and think about these bastards in government, it makes my blood boil, folks. Pissed off. But you'd never know just by looking at me because I'm such a calm, cool, collected person. Right? I want to drink a toast to all of our brothers, fallen and otherwise. A lot of news is coming in, folks. A lot of things are happening. We're continuing to get nothing but lies, lies, and lies out of government. But now that she looks like she's losing her re-election campaign, her fight there to get re-elected, Governor Whitmore has said, hey, we're going to ban masks. Are you kidding me? We're supposed to believe this shit, right? It's incredible. It's incredible that we would even come close to believing her, right? Who would trust this bitch? She's lying and saying she wants to lift the mask ban or make masks illegal. It's only to get elected. That's it. These are election lies. So typical, so transparent, folks. Unfucking believable. Now, let's continue if we shall. Right? You can't question those elites in charge. You can't ask them about their lies because they don't have an answer, folks. And finally, the mainstream media is starting to ask a couple of questions. Not too many, not too hard, but they are asking some questions. Now, you've heard of Jen Psaki, you know, Raggedy Ann, the tart with no heart in Washington, D.C., the president, Gigi Biden, his press secretary, Jen Psaki. She runs from the podium faster than Joe Biden. And the only reason she's faster than Joe Biden, well, is because Joe Biden's a slow, doddering old fool. But she still, she still is very qualified. She'd give him a run for his money and the best of his health. You know what she said? You know what she tweeted? She tweeted that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. That was her claim. That's Russian disinformation. That's not true. That's fake. That's Trump stuff. That's conspiracy theory. Well, it's big news today. It's been big news all week. The Hunter Biden laptop story is real. It has nothing to do with Russia. It has everything to do with Hunter Biden being a complete scumbag. A shakedown artist working for Daddy, the big guy. And all of the drug use, all of the prostitution, and dare I say underage issues there, it's all real. How much longer can they hold out, folks? I'll tell you how much longer. I was chatting about this with Chris P. Bacon, and he's like, there's something big coming, man. There's something big. It's looming. And he says, I think they have everything all planned. I said, I bet they got it planned and a backup plan, so they can do whatever they need to do and execute it as well competently as they can possibly do anything. But yeah, they got a plan, folks. At some point, they're going to have to cut Biden loose. But odds are they're going to say, hey, he's an old guy. We've got to cut him some slack. Got to cut him some slack here. You know, he served his country for nearly 50 years, so selflessly making himself a multi-millionaire. Selflessly serving the people. My ass. Anyways, yeah, Jen Psaki, Raggedy Ann, you said it was Russian disinformation. Where did you get your story from? Or were you then, and are you now, nothing more than a soulless liar? Raggedy Ann, where are you? Folks, shit has hit the fan. These people are incredible. They will not stop lying. Oh, but wait, there's more. There's more, folks. Have no fear. I tell you what, have no fear. I wonder, is the new governor of New York the same as the old governor of New York, right? Look at the new boss, same as the old boss. I'm going to go a little further and say that the new governor, I bet that's Cuomo's sister, right? Guess what she has done? Guess what this complete basket case, Kathy Hochul, whatever the fuck her name is, right? She's the governor now. And during a press briefing today in Rochester, I take it back, it was yesterday and Wednesday, she told reporters that she hoped all unvaccinated workers would meet the Monday deadline to get the jab, or they lose their job. Once again, in my opinion, this is a form of duress. It is an economic threat used to coerce someone to do something which they have no right to force them to do. And on top of that, folks, it gets better. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this lie that you have to obey some sort of mandate, which is not based on any science. It's based on political propaganda and agenda. Well, guess what? They're threatening. She is. The new Cuomo is threatening that they will be replaced. In New York, they're going to replace medical workers with foreign medical workers. Now, wait a fucking moment here. You can't do that. Within each state, someone has to be certified to perform whatever medical task it is that is going to be performed, whether it's through a nurse, some sort of healthcare specialist, a doctor, general practitioner, or a specialist. Everyone has to be certified by the state. Now, certification, how does that come about? You've got to have the education. You have to have passed the tests necessary, right? You have to meet all the requirements of the state. But this broad would be more than happy, in my opinion, to just rubber stamp these people in. And what's their major qualification? They've taken the Jim Jones juice. Wow, that's medicine, huh? Well, why not just get some 18-year-old, 20-year-old, or 22-year-old medical students that have taken the Jim Jones juice and certify them? We don't know who these foreigners are or where they're coming from. Folks, worldwide, there's a shortage of medical professionals. but somehow the state of New York is going to get the best, and actually they're going to be qualified. The idea of now going to a hospital, in my opinion, is a dangerous proposition. It's a dangerous proposition. Why? Well, guess what I read today? It's a big news story that the American Medical Association is helping train doctors. Let me say that again. The American Medical Association is helping doctors, folks, to lie to their patients, to trick them so that, well, the tequila shot doesn't sound that bad after all. Isn't that just fucking amazing, folks? The lie is more important than health. Whatever happened to the Hippocratic oath? Not hypocritic, folks, Hippocratic. That is, I'm going to be my patient's best advocate. I will do no harm to my patient, right? I will do what's best for my patient. If they took that oath and they're doing this now, it is nothing but a lie. Unbelievable, folks. Unfucking believable. At some point, they would love to try and get rid of this channel on YouTube, folks. That's why we have Patreon. Christine, the answer is yes. I'll get a hold of you as soon as. Now, for the time being, stay calm. Take notes. Take notes about what has happened. Don't trust the memory. Take notes. All right, let's do this, folks. I love ragging on Raggedy Ann because she is such a good liar. Well, let me rephrase that. She's really good at lying. But the lies are not good lies. They're easy to see through. It's easy to see the agenda behind them. Jen Psaki is now saying Border Patrol agents on horseback will no longer be used to patrol the border. That makes the perfect amount of sense. You know, whatever they have as a useful tool, let's take it away from them. Is it obvious to you yet that the federal government, that little government up there in Washington, D.C., wants America destroyed? They have an agenda and they want it carried out. Now, here's the deal, folks. Everyone thinks of the federal government as this big, giant thing. Well, yeah, they have a lot of employees. Yeah, they have a lot of money because of taxation. But it's really a tiny piece of dirt. It's a tiny piece of dirt that they occupy. There's a problem there, folks. There's a problem there. Kind of like little dog complex. There is a problem. Now, Jen Psaki is saying that we're no longer going to use agents on horseback. So how is it that the agents are going to have to patrol the border? Are they just going to drive around in trucks, and when someone goes off-road and down into a gully or across a field and over a fence, that they just like, oh, well, I guess another one got through? Are they going to give the agents razors, quad runners to traverse these areas and chase down these scumbags who are illegally here? We don't know what they're doing here. We don't know why they want to be here. We don't know if they're carrying drugs, biological agents. We don't know what they're up to. You know, they're illegal. And we have serious problems on the border. Good thing we got Jen Psaki and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on the job. Unbelievable, folks. They keep taking every step they can to push us in the wrong direction. So I'm going to give you some good news now. It's happening now, folks. People are fighting back. People are standing up. People are screaming and yelling For the last couple of weeks, we've been detailing how parents are going into school boards and saying no more CRT, no more disgusting, perverted, literally perverted sex porn books in class. No more. People are standing up and saying no more masks. Take your mandates and shove them up your ass. They got this on film in New York City on the subway. There's an Asian woman on camera ripping down communist propaganda. Now, this isn't what some other subway rider put up on the wall. It is a part of the transit system. They got a lit board and they have these papers that fit in there and they're backlit, and it's a bunch of communist propaganda. And that's what this lady calls it. She calls it for what it is and says it's never going to go away. Now, I'm willing to bet she's either from Hong Kong or China, and she's used to seeing communist propaganda. But she basically lets the camera know this has to be fought. You have to fight it now. It'll never go away. It'll never stop. They'll never back off. What a fantastic lesson coming from someone who knows. These folks, these evil bastards on the left, whether they're pushing their CRT, whether they're pushing their LGB agenda, whether they're pushing their anti-military bullshit, they're never, ever, 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 and I mean ever, going to quit. The only way to defeat an enemy that has come this far is to truly and properly defeat them. Those days are coming. They're coming faster. They're coming quicker. They're coming at us from all sides. You need to be prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. And understand, folks, there are leaders out here. There are real leaders, not these politicians who pretend to be leaders, not these fucking mouthpieces on television. Those aren't leaders. Those are mouthpieces. But out in the public, folks, there are real leaders in your community all over the country that can lead things small and maybe even up to big. When the ball drops, when the dime drops, when the fuse is lit and is burned all the way down, you're going to know it. And the leadership is already in place. Do your job to be prepared. Understand, none of this is going to be easy. There's going to be a huge price to pay, folks. A huge price to pay. Now, I want to give you a little bit more good news. Now, you know about the Haitian issue, right? Just kind of covered it. No more using horses, agents on horses, to catch these Haitians running all over America. Well, they're catching the Haitians and sending them back because that is the law. They don't belong here. Well, the U.S. Special Envoy to Haiti, basically a diplomatic douche, he has resigned in protest because Haitians are being sent back to Haiti, these illegals here. I'm thinking, you know what? Good riddance, you little prick. I mean, you're resigning. Oh my God, the United States of America is going to have to fold and leave Haiti. We're going to have to leave every country in the world. Oh my God, this is so terrible. It's just unbelievable how stupid these people are, folks. Good. I wish all Democrats would resign and go climb back under the slimy, shit-covered rock from which they crawled out. Too bad there's so many of them, and they won't go away, folks. Let me say this again. They will never, ever, ever, ever stop doing what they do. They will never stop. They will never quit. They may hide. They may be silent for a little bit, but they will never, ever go away. And we have more communists in this country than ever. And they know who they are, folks. They know they're fucking communists. And they love the fact that they're communists. They think it's cute. They think it's funny. They think it's a great system of government. They think they're going to win. They know that they have to destroy this country first, though, folks. And that's what they're doing. They don't realize they're useful idiots to the fascist superpower structure called globalism that's already in place. And it won't allow a full and proper communist takeover. It'll be communism or a sort or form of communism for the little people. The Chinese model is the one that the globalists want, folks. That's the model they want, where the rich people can be rich, can stay rich, and can become more rich. That's the model they want. That's the model they're trying to get. So good riddance there, you pile of shit. Okay. Don't worry, I'm going to call anyway. You didn't interrupt the show, don't worry. Okay, folks, we have a two-tier system in America, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. A two-tier system in America. You have the peasants, and they're going to get communism. And you have the elites, and they'll have their fascist system. And they're starting this system now with first-class citizens and second-class citizens, you know, peasants, people who have rights and power, and those of us who beg for permission and try not to get stepped on. The Hazelwood School District has decided that they're going to only allow vaccinated students to the homecoming dance festival, whatever they're going to call it. Only the vaccinated are allowed. So they're discriminating against those who have chosen to not get vaccinated. They're going to keep pushing this, folks. They're not ever going to give it up. Every school district out there needs to be cleaned out. The school boards, the principals of school, and those teachers. Folks, there is room in this country for freedom. There is so much room because there's so little freedom left. It's easy to see where freedom could just fill a school with good ideas, you know, like freedom, prosperity, wealth, respect for self and others. What does this system teach that they're teaching now? It teaches them to respect people who obey and to disrespect people who are free. It teaches them what? That there's the haves and the have-nots. And that unless you obey, you're going to be a have-not, to be punished. Bring it on, bitches. As far as I'm concerned, bring it the fuck on. We need to get this over with. We need for you to proclaim. Then we need for you to try and do something. That's right. I am actually egging on the political left now. Bring it on, bitches. Do it. Bring it. Everyone out here is waiting for you to finally say it. Do it. Open up your camps. Start trying to arrest people. Do it. Right? I'm not inciting violence. I'm not encouraging illegal behavior. Right? You guys think that it's legal to do what you want to do, then do it. See how the people react to this. There's a lot of people out here who are pretty fucking pissed off, and they would love to tell you their opinion very loudly and very quickly. Bring it. I keep hearing from these leftists on Twitter. There's people on Twitter, folks, these left-wing communist bastards who say we need to die, who want to use drones to administer medication towards us. They want to put us in camps. They're the ones saying this, folks. And I'm saying, okay, enough talk. Do it. Fucking pussies. It's coming, folks. Right? The lies keep coming. Oh, there's no problem with this. There's no problem. Everything, the system's fine. Well, then how come British Petroleum is about to start rationing gasoline, petrol, in the United Kingdom? That is Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales. Apparently, there's supply issues with fuel, with petrol over there in the UK. Is there an oil shortage that I wasn't aware of? Why is there an oil shortage? It's all being manufactured, folks. It's all being manufactured. Don't worry, the elite and the rich will have plenty of petrol for their Jaguars, for their Bentleys, for their Rollses, for their little supercars. They'll have plenty of petrol for them. They'll have plenty for their planes also, and their helicopters, and their luxury yachts. They're going to have plenty, folks, plenty of fuel for them. But remember, when the rich start talking about this, it's more for me, but not for thee. It's the same rule. There's freedom out there. They will take it all. They'll make sure you get very little. There's fuel out there. They'll take all they can and make sure there's none for you. It is coming. Prices are going up. Supplies are going down. And we have this jackass. I want to give you his name because he deserves some credit. There's a Bush speechwriter who is now writing for a left-wing newspaper, I believe The Atlantic. So this clown, David Frum, I remember his name, Frum. From what and to what? Well, fuck him. He says that Trump supporters should eat less fried foods and eat salmon. He says, oh yeah, order the salmon, if you will. He's implying, get this, right, that Trump supporters are out of shape, don't exercise, much like the former president himself, President Trump, that he's in bad shape. I believe President Trump is in pretty damn good shape for his age. He's not falling on the stairs climbing onto Air Force One. I guess he may have stumbled once. Oh my God. 4 years ago. The guy, Trump, is a scratch golfer, but we're supposed to believe all of these slovenly piles of shit out there that are left-wing Antifa, BLM turds in their 20s, folks, not their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. We're supposed to look at them and go, oh, there's a picture of health, right? These basement dwellers that eat Twinkies and won't go get a job. Anyways, as a Southerner friend of mine likes to say, Mr. Frum, why don't you eat a dick? And maybe even order a little bit of salmon with it. But that's what they think of us, folks. Do you think that President Bush is on our side, that he's a true American? Or do you think that we were lied to? Like we were lied about weapons of mass destruction? That we were lied to about the purpose of the Patriot Act? It's a great sounding name, isn't it? How patriotic is it to create one more law enforcement bureaucracy at the federal level that violates constitutional rights? How about the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act? Another brilliant piece of federal legislation designed to strip us of our rights. And I talked earlier, folks, about Biden pushing to dishonorably discharge and court-martial troops that refuse to take the Jim Jones juice. You bet, folks. You bet. They're still here. They're not going away. And by the way, I do want to touch on this. We're getting close to the end of my half hour, and we're getting to your Q&A session. So get your questions in. Now, Rudy Giuliani has been out in front again in the media, and he was speaking about Hunter Biden's laptop. That same laptop that was part of the Russian misinformation that Jen Psaki talked about has now been proven to be a lie on Jen Psaki's part, a lie on the mainstream media part. And now they're actually going, yeah, I guess it's true. The Hunter Biden laptop is a real thing. Really? Yeah, not only is he smoking crack, not only is he admitting to shaking down nations and companies for money so that the big guy gets his 10%. Right? Giuliani says, hey, you got child pornography on that hard drive. The pictures of the young girl with no clothes on. That's some very impressive stuff, folks. When will Hunter Biden get to wear his shiny stainless steel bracelets? When is that going to happen? Or is this part of the ruse, right? Well, okay, we held up Joe Biden and Hunter Biden as long as we could, but we need to get Joe off the meds. Maybe he can slip on a banana peel, fall down the stairs, get tangled up in a tricycle in the White House, and they can say 25th Amendment, you're no longer the president. But who's going to step in, folks? If Joe Biden can't handle the media and answer a few questions, do you really think Camel Toes Harris is going to do any better? The media is actually becoming aggravated, which is interesting. And I'm noting it and I'm watching it from a distance. I have a funny feeling that Nancy Pelosi would be much more adept at silencing the media with her bitchiness. She is a queen of lies. In fact, I think Hillary Clinton is quite upset with her because they're both quite competitive in this arena. No love between those two witches, folks. Absolutely incredible. Hunter Biden laptop full of illegal folks, unfucking believable. And one last thing, I can't leave this one alone. The recordings, the voice recordings of Maricopa County Board of Supervisor people, they have been caught on tape lying, or rather, they're speaking the truth, which makes other things they've said publicly lies. So we know that Chukri, or Chukri, whatever the hell his name is, he is resigned and said, well, there's no problems, except the tapes that have leaked out. Right? The tapes that have leaked out say otherwise. So get this. The supervisor of Maricopa County, Bill Gates, the other Bill Gates, I guess, says that these tapes of the actual voices of Maricopa County politicians, those are full of elections misinformation. How are literal recordings of someone's voice where they admit to their wrongdoings, their lies, their real beliefs? How can these verbal admissions that have been caught on a recording device, how is that misinformation? Well, see, what they do is they want it characterized as such so it can be removed from the internet. Hey, I'm not the one saying the words. I'm not the one who got caught. Now, if I do something wrong, say I'm driving down the road and I'm swerving in and out of lanes and I get pulled over and the cop comes up and he's got his little body cam on his chest and it's pointing at me and he says, hey, you were speeding and swerving through the lanes there, buddy. And I'm like, yeah, I sure did, pal. So why don't you go fuck yourself? I got recorded. It's on tape. That will be used against me in a court of law. These people have been caught on tape. They have been electronically recorded. And they don't want to be held responsible. So they're trying to call it misinformation. More lies, folks. Liars need lies, don't they? Unfucking believable. Let's do this. Let's get to your questions. Let's do it.
Are you ready?
All right, here we go. Jolene, who is first up on the list? We all see things every day, folks. We all think independently. We look at a piece of news or we see some information. We hear a quote. And what we do is we look, listen, learn, we file it, we think about it, we share it with each other, we notify each other. And that's how we all learn. This is what we don't need the mainstream media for. Give us some information, give us a few facts, and we'll figure the rest out for ourselves. We don't need you bunch of pricks. All right, we've got David. He says, when will the government drop the facade and admit that the corporations are really in control of everything? They will never admit that, David. Even in the most fascist of fascist governments that the world has come to know, the Third Reich of Germany back in World War II, the corporations, they controlled the government to a degree. But the government was always the government. The Führer was the boss, right? The Reichsführers, they were the bosses. The government had the military. Ultimately, folks, the United States government could go to Coca-Cola headquarters and kick in the door and own that company. They could. So the corporations will never be allowed to come out in front. Now, what they do is they go behind the scenes and they maintain that robust anonymity, which really isn't that robust, right? They go into the White House and the next day the White House announces a new deal with Coca-Cola. Now, what government knows in a fascist system is that the government doesn't know how to make Coca-Cola or make Ford trucks or make airplanes The government knows it is completely incompetent at anything except putting, taking money from one group and giving it to another, putting it into the military. They control the muscle. They control the ability to destroy people. And so the government always maintains that as the last piece, the highest piece on the chessboard, if you will. And the government knows that if they screw with corporations, and this is something China has learned, if you screw with corporations, the corporations go out of business. They quit making those vital elements, whether it's a product, a resource, some information, whatever those corporations do that government can't. They realize that. So they respect each other to that degree. So we'll see the influence of, I don't know, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson. We'll see their influence in the rules the government has. But we'll never hear, folks, that it is Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, or Johnson & Johnson that are actually running the show. And that's the thing, is they will push for their agenda to make sure the narrative reflects their desires as the big pharmaceutical companies. And the government becomes, again, the muscle. The muscle can be turned and used against the corporations, or the muscle can be used and turned against the people. So the government respects the corporations that provide the services, the products, the raw materials. And they let them make all kinds of money, and then they take their kickbacks. It's incredible. Okay, we got the Washington Examiner, and this is coming from Fuzzy Fork. He just sent this to me, that Biden's United Nations, they want to set up a global gun registration treaty. I will say this again, bring it on, bitches. The American people are well aware. Those Americans out there and out there and out there, they know that the federal government and the United Nations want their guns, and they are willing to give them their bullets, their ammunition, their rounds. They'll give them those first. And when they're all out of ammunition, I'm sure they'd be more than willing to just hand over the weapons. It's not happening. They're pushing, folks, but they're not going to get it. All right, we got Vincent Boyle from Belfast, Ireland. Hello, Vincent. How are you, brother? He says this: gas stations here closed due to no delivery drivers. Getting ready for a crap Christmas. I have a funny feeling they may just cancel Christmas altogether. Now, I just read that BP, British Petroleum, and we have BP over here in the States across the pond, or at least we did. I haven't seen it in a while, but they used to be a big deal. And I was on the West Coast, way the fuck away. Yeah, BP. They're going to start rationing fuel. Hey, Vincent, you and your wife, you get 10 gallons of petrol this week. That's all you get. I don't care if you have to drive further to work or not. That's all you get. Fuck you. And the next person, you get 10 gallons of petrol. It doesn't matter that you don't go anywhere, but you get your 10 gallons. Folks, people who can get it will get it. And what are they going to do? They're going to end up trading it. This is the black market, folks, that's coming. People will be trading gas. People will be trading rice and beans. People will be trading whatever commodity, whatever resource they can get that they don't need. They will take it and they'll trade it to others. This is how the Soviet Union operated, folks. Remember hearing about food lines, bread lines, meat lines, rice lines, vegetable lines? People would go and stand in line for an hour to get their daily bread. Then go stand in line for another hour to get their meat. Then go stand in line for another hour to get their rice, their potatoes, their starches. And you know what the government thought? The government thought, fuck you. What do we care? We're the government. Government doesn't have to wait in line. Nope. But if you're busy waiting in line, you're not out committing crimes. If you're busy waiting in line, you're not busy fighting back against the government. You're busy complying and dealing with all the shit they throw in your face. That's what this is about. Well, we got a shortage. There's no delivery drivers. Why not? Where the fuck are the delivery drivers? Where are the people that want jobs? Where the fuck did they go? Why don't they want jobs? Why? That's a great question I love to ask. I've had a friend lately say, that's my favorite question. Why? I want to know why. Unfucking believable. Anita F checks in and says, John, are you doing contractor work in Ida affected areas? Oh, Hurricane Ida affected areas. Easy to find guys wanting to slap on a new roof, but no one wants to address structural issues. I am not doing contractor work in Hurricane Ida areas. I'm not doing it. Addressing structural issues. This is an interesting thing. The answer is no, and I'm sorry that it's difficult to find people who want to address structural issues, but this actually is a direct reflection of what is going on in this country. So when you say slap on a roof, roofs that got blown off, see, putting a new coat of paint on the outside and slapping a roof on, it looks great from the highway. There's your Potemkin City, folks. It looks good from the road. It looks good from the highway. But there's structural defects inside the building. You've got water damage, mold, rot, foundation is shifted, right? There's structural defects, shear paneling failed, houses are not plumb, they're not square. And it needs to be fixed, folks, but how are you going to fix it? Who is going to fix all of these problems? We've got problems, folks, in this country, not just because of Hurricane Ida. We have structural defects with our infrastructure. We have structural defects with our political system. But it looks good from the highway, doesn't it? Because that building over there says IRS, and that building over there says Attorney General's office, and that building over there says what? Federal this, federal that, federal the other. Everything is just papered over with federal power. It's all a lie. It's all a big fat lie. Now we got Steve USMC and Semper Fi brother. This is what he has to say. He says, I just found out that my great nephew was killed in that bombing in Afghanistan. His name is Corporal Dagan William Tyler Page, age 23. Now this makes it real. Semper Fi. It is, Steve. It's real. It's real in a very personal way to you. I'm sorry to hear that one of your relatives was directly affected by this. Where I want to go with this thought, how I want to carry this thought on, is that there's a lot of us out here in America that are feeling this one way or another. You're right now, you and your entire family, Dagan's town, people that knew him, his friends. I went and watched the particular news story that was about him, his town, his friends, his people that lined up and spent hours waiting. You've been affected by the military lies, the military incompetence, the military direct destruction. And you feel the direct effect of those decisions that they make. Right? You now get to suffer under that. And it pisses me off mighty. It just does. Sorry about this. The camera's kind of jacked up. Okay. It really pisses me off. There's other people, folks, that are suffering medically because the lies of the government having to do with medicine, medical practices, medical decisions. Those are lies, and it's causing death, injury, destruction, loss of life, property, loss of wealth. Same with the economy, our jobs. You can't go to the hospital and get health care because you have not done as they demand. You can't walk down the street. You can't go into a restaurant. The country is being torn in half. And I love how the political left, these bunch of commie fucks, and the mainstream media, they just love to say that Trump was destroying America. Who the fuck is in charge now? Is it Trump? No. No. It's Biden. And what is he doing? He's tearing apart the military. He's abusing the military. He's destroying America's reputation. He's destroying our infrastructure. He's destroying our country and how it thinks and works and operates. And along with Gigi Biden are all the Democrats in DC and the Democrat governors, Democrat mayors, Democrat chiefs of police, Democrat bureaucrats all across the country. Encouraged, I'm talking about judges, prosecutors, district attorneys as well. State level attorney general's office. They should be charging huge crimes on all these criminals, but they're not. They're absolutely not. This is a partisan war, and currently it's a soft war. And again, I'm not going to push and tell you and incite violence or encourage and glamorize it, but I'm telling you the violence is coming because people are being affected directly. It is becoming real to them when it affects their family, their town, when it affects them. There's going to be a reaction. There's going to be a kinetic response at some point. I still believe 100%, folks, that the government is going to be firing the first volleys of stupidity. I do believe that. The government is the one that is demanding and pushing all this destruction on us. And people are patient. People are polite. People are intelligent, saying it doesn't have to be this way. It's the government that uses force and the fear of force being used, right? They have force, and so they say, do you want me to have to use this force? And that's called fear of force. It is intimidation, it is threats, and that is what government does. Do as we say, says the government, or we're going to come and get you. At some point, the people are going to say, then come and get it. There's going to be hell to pay, folks. And a lot of America is going to learn what dead bodies smell like. They don't smell good. They don't smell fresh. And there's a lot more pain coming, folks. We got Peter DeVal. He says, with so many civil liberties being trampled on by corporations and government, why aren't there hundreds of thousands of lawsuits being filed by lawyers to the courts? Peter, there are. There are. The hundreds of thousands and even millions of Americans are being represented in a lot of class action lawsuits. So they will file a class action lawsuit, an attorney, a firm, several firms will all get together and say, we're filing on the behalf of these 100 people, these John and Jane Does, and those who are unnamed, which is everyone affected. So that's why you see these commercials. If you worked in a shipping yard from 1960 to 1985, you may have been exposed to asbestos. We have settled this lawsuit with Asbestos ABC Corporation, and you might be entitled to a percentage of that. Call this law firm to get your settlement. That's how this works. So there are individual lawsuits, there are state lawsuits, there are federal lawsuits, there are lawsuits against individuals like Governor Whitmore of Michigan, who once you step outside, folks, outside the scope of your authority as a government agent or elected official, once you step outside your protected area, guess what? You are now personally liable. Right? The governor cannot order the police to start murdering people. That's not within the governor's power. So when the governor orders that, they no longer have immunity. Now, we do happen to live in strange times right now. And in these strange times, governors seem to think they have special authority and special privilege and special rights. Same with law enforcement, same with corporations. Corporations can be sued, folks, just like a human being can. Now, that said, let us be wary that corporations also have a lot of money and power and influence. And who do they use that power and influence on? Well, in a fascist system, they use it with the government. Hey, Mr. Judge, we contributed $10,000 to your election campaign. Hey, Judge, your family works for XYZ Corporation. I'm sure we don't want to risk that, do we? Now, am I saying that government officials act corruptly, accept bribes? Am I saying that they yield to extortion? Yeah, all those things. They cheat, lie, and steal. It is all about their lies, and more lies, and keeping their power. And they are so fucking stupid now. They are doing it, and they're naked about it. And in, like, well, for example, Hunter Biden, he's literally naked while committing his crimes, exposed for the world to see. And yet he's not arrested. Yet he's not being charged and prosecuted. He's not in jail. He's not wearing a jumpsuit. He's not wearing handcuffs, because the wealthy and the powerful are protected. And that is a huge problem, folks. It's a huge problem. There are going to be people that when, shall we say, the ball drops, the balloon goes up, when the starting guns are fired, and we're off to the races, there's going to be a lot of hell to pay. Let's move on. We got Jay Clifton says, is there anyone in this current administration that hasn't lied, cheated, stole, or otherwise connived their way to where they are? Anyone? 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 The answer is, if there is, I wouldn't know it. You know, I can't think of any of them, folks. Every time a name comes up, anytime I see a face in the government, the administration, I just look and know that that is a person that is not trustworthy, that has gotten there, yeah, through graft and grift, by hook or by crook, they got there. Lie, cheat, and steal, bribe, extort, threaten. That is the DC way. I have no doubts, folks, that every last one of them are corrupt pieces of shit. And if you offered them a $100 bill to screw someone else over, they'd take it. Heidi, hey, Heidi. Hadn't seen or heard from you in a little bit, Heidi. Glad you are still there. Awesome. She asks, how long until the peasants decide to start looting and burning down the corporations? Oh, that's a fine question. How long until the peasants decide? Peasants meaning us, folks. Peasants meaning the American people. Now, fighting the government, fighting the corporations is a different question altogether. You see, a government building, even if it's full of corrupt scumbags, has, even in the minds of pissed off peasants, it has the appearance of authority. It has the appearance of authority. And people tend to respect authority more than they do things private. Well, that's the government. You know, it's very much bred into us. It's very much taught to human beings that you respect authority. And I'm not saying that they get ultimate respect, and I'm not saying that respect can't be withdrawn 100%. But there's no reason to go burn the government building. There's no reason to go loot it. There's nothing inside. Now, the people that work in there, they're going to have problems. And when things get really bad, do you think any government employee is going to show up at the courthouse, show up at the administrative building, show up at the city, state, or federal government headquarters for whatever outfit they're in? No, they won't. Now, let's move on to your more direct question, Heidi. Corporations. Ah, yes. The nameless, faceless corporation, the fictitious being that has come into existence, that accumulates wealth and uses that to buy political power and forces people to take their products through corporate tactics like the creation of a monopoly, or coercion with government to force people to buy their product, like, health insurance. Have to buy it. Insurance, car insurance. What does the government force us to buy? Whatever they want, right? But corporations, how long until they start looting and burning them? It's going to be before the government buildings believe you me, right? Let's just take Coca-Cola again, for example. Headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. Coca-Cola decided to attack you. And I don't care whether you're white or black or brown or Asian or Far East or Near East or South Pole. I don't give a fuck, whatever your color is. If you believe in freedom and liberty, Coke says you're too white. People remember that. That's a fucking insult. Coke, like every other corporation, is using its power right now to force. They're using economic duress, which is a form of fraud, and it is criminal, and it's discriminatory, and it's evil to force people to take the Jim Jones juice. How many people have and were injured or died as a result? Once again, you have an institution in America, whether private or government, private or public. There's an institution that is causing harm, and in some cases, irreparable harm or even death. People will go after corporations, folks. They won't have any qualms about it. They may see a government building and go, that belongs to the people. We just need to put good administrators that care about our law and order back in that building. But this building over here, these motherfuckers built this building off of my back, making money off of me so they could screw me over. Whether it's Coca-Cola or Goodyear Tire, whether it's Dick's Sporting Goods or Walmart, they will loot, they will burn, they will destroy as a form of punishment and retribution. It's coming. It's a great topic and conversation piece, Heidi. Thank you for bringing that up. We got Two Owls here who says, I am a big picture thinker. Personal operational security has become an illusion to me because of the numerous big picture variables. Advice? Yeah, I have a little bit of, you could call it advice, you could call it some thoughts and perspective, if you will. Personal operational security has become an illusion. In other words, it doesn't seem to exist. Understand this, folks. I don't care about the government. The government has probably hacked all of my computers. They probably have back doors into all of my computers. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't done anything illegal. I'm a free human being. I understand the batting order. It's God, me, government. It's not vague. It's not ambiguous. Very fucking simple. And it's been that way, well, since man learned the difference between himself, God, and government. But, they want to hack in here. They want to fuck around in our computers. They want to know all there is to know about us. They want to know about our banking. They want to know about our assets. They want to know about our retirements. They want to know about our property. Fine. I'm nobody. I am a tiny, 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 infinitesimally tiny person. Operational security, I'm not worried about it with respect to the government. To think that you are protected from the government is an illusion, right? We can get VPNs, right? Virtual private networks. I think they can be hacked by the government, that they have the keys, the back door. They have the codes to get in. And if they don't, they can just use brute force, computer brute force to break in. Literally, folks, they have that. There's such a thing. My concern, my operational security concern, Two Owls, is not the government. When the government acts, it's going to act against a bunch of other people who are a lot bigger fish than me, and I'll be able to up my operational security, become a porcupine, if you will. And I'll go down with this ship. This is my ship, and I'll go down with it. My concern, operational security, is against those who are on my street. Government's way up here with power, not authority. I'm the authority over government. But when it comes to the amount of power they have, it's switched. The government has all this power, and they think that gives them authority over us. It doesn't. It's just power. Government is force. That's all it is. Government is force. It is power. It is like fire. It is a fearful servant and a terrible master. My concern is not government up here. My concern is people at my level. People on the street, people in the town. People who would look at me and say, there's an opportunity for me. I need to go exploit that. I need to make that a problem, right? My problem is going to become John's problem. That is a force that I can deal with. I can't deal with government. If they wanted to send 50 fucking agents after me, I'd be dead, right? So I don't have to worry about operational security with them. If they come after me, it's just a fucking game over move. It's too bad, right? Which would fucking suck, but it's too bad. Well, if it's just some fucking assholes out here, well, guess what? We're on equal footing. I have a couple of advantages over them that they may not understand, right? There's a lot of us, people like me and you. So actually, we've got some force over them, but I still want to maintain operational security. And that's why I move around so much. That's why you'll see me at the office. You'll see me at UMANS. You'll see me in the bunker. Sometimes I head out to the RMZ. Right? I do those things, folks, to maintain some security, some anonymity, some protection. I think that you really need to be concerned about your protection on a level that's with you. And I think you probably are very well capable of doing that. We're not, all of us little people, we're not capable of pulling off operations. We don't have access to helicopters, tanks, armored carriers like the Taliban is. Remember, the Taliban was given $85 billion in equipment by the government. We don't have that. So our operational security needs to be in line with our operational requirements and necessities. And that's dealing with people who are down here on our level. I'm not worried about the government. If they want to make me an issue of theirs, it's game over. That's it. You want to get rid of John? Send in 50 FBI agents and accuse me of something I haven't done, but then just kill me for it. Peter Duval says, bonus question. I love a good bonus question. He says, saw the video John shared about the Jim Jones juice being very conductive to electricity. Aside from 5G, would an EMP affect those with tequila juice in their system? I don't know. Electromagnetic pulse, or even a coronal mass ejection. What that is a bunch of free electrons. Electrons are negatively charged particles. It very well could have an effect, but I don't know what that effect is. I know that it can affect anything with electronics. Now, interestingly, it's been theorized, hypothesized that a lot of things that are in people's body, a lot of things that have been ingested, sprayed on us, etc., that there's nanobots. Tiny little machines, which means they have tiny little circuit boards, tiny little brains, and they can perform one thing, right? If they're electronic, right? They're not operating on, AA batteries. They're not operating on little solar panels because there's no sun inside of us. So they're operating on microcharges. I wonder, folks, if we exposed ourselves to strong electric fields, electromagnetic fields, or even shock therapy, if that wouldn't fry all of these little fucking machines. I've thought about it and thought, well, why don't I give myself 120 volts at 60 hertz and see if I can't cook the little bastards out of me. I can take quite a fucking nail, right? Quite a shock. It's happened in the past and it didn't kill me. Doesn't feel good though, that's for sure, especially if you're well grounded. Anyways, the point is yeah, everything affects everything, and these are, problems. Some of the materials that are discussed are magnetic in nature. My opinion is I'm going to continue to detox myself. Detoxing is now a way of life for me. Not because I've taken the Jim Jones juice, folks, but because I don't trust those people out there and those people out there. I don't trust them. I don't know what they put in the food and the water. I don't know what they put in the air. Chemtrails and all that shit. They've been poisoning us for a long time, folks. I don't know what it consists of. I've heard a lot of stories and a lot of wild ass reports, about this super technology that they have. And it wouldn't surprise me, folks, that if this super technology turns out to be real, that the people that created it get held accountable. Kind of like the contractors that built the Death Star in Star Wars. There's a lot of private contractors there making a lot of money. They're responsible for the damage done by that organization which owned the Death Star, the Empire. So if the Empire kills people using a private contractor's equipment, don't you think that private contractor is going to be held accountable by somebody? There's going to be hell to pay, folks. There's going to be a lot of people held accountable at some point. And I think it is coming. Ultimately, there's going to be a lot of pain. Crazy. We got Jay Clifton says, what in your opinion will be the trigger to make this go kinetic? One thing. There will be one thing, in my opinion, Jay. It is going to be government. Government on a local level, on a state level, on a federal level. One, the other, or all three. Someplace, somewhere, they're going to go too far. And the response is going to be violent. When people say, no, you've gone too far. You've hurt us too much. You've destroyed the economy. You've crippled the military. You've killed our sons and daughters. You've taxed the shit out of us. You've regulated us to the point where we have no freedoms. You've stopped our food supplies. You've messed up our fuel supplies. Electricity, the lights tend to go out. The water is poison. At some point, the government is going to say, we demand more, and the people are going to go, we have no more to demand. Also incorporated into this idea is hunger. Hunger. People will not fight unless they are hungry or they fear being hungry. Don't forget, this is all about fear. Someone may say, my cabinets are empty. I'm not hungry yet, but in about 4 hours, I'm going to be hungry, and they get fearful. Now, unlike people who lived 200 years ago in the French Revolution, those people and all people back then were used to going hungry at times. Right? They didn't have refrigerators. They didn't have supermarkets. Well, that guy down the street, he's got a bunch of cows, and he's butchering one today, so hopefully we get some meat. So people would save and store up as much as they can so that they wouldn't have these periods where they couldn't get food for a couple of days. Well, if you go a day and then 2 days and then 3 days without food, you get pretty hungry. You're pretty fucking pissed. And now the government's here to tax me again. The government's here to arrest me while I'm in a state of hunger and confusion, anger, frustration. It's coming, though. It really is. In my opinion, it is coming. And because of that, because I am now absolutely certain it's in our very near future. Not that they can't kick the can down the road, folks, but they seem dead set, in my opinion, the government, on hurting us some more. They don't want to let up. Tyrants will never, ever, ever, ever quit until they are deposed. One way or another. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi. Godspeed.
Audio Jungle.